Hello, friends. I am Chevy. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? Hope it's fantastic. Everything here is great. I I got to hang the shelves this weekend. Remember the shelves I made for M? I beside the I worked on the box insert for Argnova last week. Got that done. I got to spend a few hours in the shop this weekend finishing the laptop tray, and I had to work on the shelves, and I'll tell you about that in a second. I don't really have good pictures of either. I know that some of you wanted to see pictures of the laptop tray in action. I really just have one crummy picture with only one laptop in it. But you can see that the middle laptop is designed to stay open when it's down in there. I finished it with spray shellac. I should not have put the wood filler on the oak. I thought, for some reason in my head, I remembered this Goodfellas wood filler turning a neutral color. It does not. It stays bright white. And if you've ever put anything on oak, it soaks into the fibers and it's basically impossible to get out. So there's these little white oak spots all over it. And it's white oak, or white, not oak, white spots where all of the nail holes are, and white spots in some of the oak that I just couldn't sand back out. So it looks kind of dumb, but it's sitting on a floor and kind of a corner. Nobody's ever going to get down there and go, hey, what's these white spots? I thought about staining the oak after that, because if I had stained it, I think they would have vanished. This stuff does take stain really well, but I didn't. So it is what it is. But I hung the shelves. So I hung the shelves on Saturday. I went and got a stud finder. I've never used a stud finder before. My whole life I've just knocked on the wall and you can hear where the stud is. But when hanging these shelves, I really wanted to make sure that my screw was very solidly in the stud. Because, the shelves themselves were probably 6 or 8 pounds, maybe 6 pounds. And then books, probably 20, 30, 40 pounds of books sitting on them. That's, I'm going to say 50 pounds hanging on a wall. And I didn't want that to come tumbling down. So I wanted to make sure that my screws that I put in the wall were in the middle of the stud, not off to the side or whatever. So I got one of these, and I went to hang the shelves. First of all, let me show you what I did. I made a couple of frames that represent the shelves so that we could, without hurting our backs, we could position these on the wall, even tape them on the wall just to try to find the position of where we wanted these. And that's when I noticed I messed this whole thing up. The original intent, I don't have my tape measure here, the original intent for this project was to not have any sort of visible fastenings, no like stretchers or anything like that. It was just going to be 3/4 inch material all the way around, and you wouldn't see how it was hung. It was going to be hung with keyholes. And the intent was that these outside rails would be 32 inches apart, which is exactly 3 studs. 16 inches on center is where studs are, so that I could put keyholes in these, 2 studs, hang it, done. That would have been perfectly strong. It would have been very, very strong. It would have easily held the weight that we were hanging on the wall. The problem was, somehow, these didn't end up being 32 inches on center. In fact, they're 31 inches on center. Which, I mean, if I tried to kind of hit the edge of the stud, would still do that, but no, that wasn't. So I don't know how I screwed these up, but they're only 31 inches on center, which means I did not have enough meat to put the keyholes in these vertical pieces. So after deliberating for a while, and after I marked out all of the studs with blue tape, and then put these up there, I realized that like putting these in the studs, on the stud spots, was going to make them kind of look funny on the wall. They weren't going to be able to be over the couch. I'd have to shove the couch into a weird spot. So we decided we wanted to put them over the couch as opposed to between studs. So what I decided to do was, there's a middle shelf. I cut horizontal keyholes in that middle shelf, like 6 inches long, and put them up. I made a story stick which is just a measuring stick that's got 2 holes in it, so I could put it on the wall, mark my 16 inches, bam, hit 2 studs, hang the shelf. So I did that. Put the shelves up. They looked fantastic. Em started putting books on it. She only put about half as many books as we would normally have on there. And I voiced concerns that I thought maybe this wasn't very strong. Maybe it wasn't going to be good enough. And I just left it at that. So we just put half the books on it, let it sit overnight. I literally lost sleep that night. I lost sleep because I was worried that these things were going to come crashing down. And they're heavy enough. There's a couch right below them. They would have bounced. They could have hit the TV. They could have hit my laptop. They could have, done a significant amount of damage falling that far off the wall. I lost sleep. I was really worried about these things falling off the wall. Ultimately, well, I'll tell you what I did. Nope, I can't tell you what I did. I can show you. Hopefully I'll put pictures in if I remember. I came down here the next morning. They were still hanging. They didn't fall overnight. And I cut a horizontal keyhole in a piece of scrap that I had been using throughout that project. Same size as all the rest of the cherry. Same board. It's one of the same boards. I cut a horizontal keyhole. I screwed a board in my vise, put a nail in it. I put a couple of dummy verticals on that cherry piece, and I just went to see how easy it was to break. And it wasn't super easy. It's not like I put weight on it and it just snapped. But it was pretty darn easy for me to just pop it away from that keyhole. And so I told him, like, I don't think these are going to work. I ultimately think that the 2 horizontal keyholes would have held enough weight that they wouldn't have fallen had they just been static. Meaning, if they were just like up on the wall and there were some books on them and that was it for the rest of their life, they probably would have hung there just fine. But being that they're like 3 feet or 4 feet, maybe 3 feet above the back of my couch, maybe not even that far, maybe more like 28 inches or 30 inches above the back of my couch, somebody's going to bump them. They're going to get bumped. And when that happens, they will fall. There was no denying it. Like if they got jostled at all, or if putting books on it, somebody put a book down too hard, it would rip the thing off the wall. I had full faith that was going to happen. So we talked about solutions, and we settled on adding a stretcher to the top or to the middle shelf. So I took them down Sunday morning. I brought them down here. I ripped a couple of like 1.5 inch stretchers that I screwed down through into the middle shelf and into the sides. The reason I'm using the middle shelf for all of this is the middle shelf, the 2 outside pieces are dadoed onto that middle shelf. So all of the weight can hang on that middle shelf just fine. If I put it all on the top shelf, the only thing holding that top shelf in is 3 dowel pins on a 1/4 inch piece of material and some glue. So mechanically, the middle shelf is the strongest of the 3 shelves. Also, I decided to put the stretcher on top of the middle shelf, not on the bottom. And that means that when her books are on the shelf, it'll completely hide the middle stretcher. So what we decided to do was make the stretcher, paint it to match the wall. So I came down here Sunday. I made the stretchers real quick. I took them upstairs, painted them. We played a couple board games while I put a couple of coats of paint on. Then I came back down here and fastened them. I did 2 pocket holes into the side pieces, 2 screws down into the shelf. Went back upstairs. I left the keyholes in, so I put them on the wall with the keyholes, then found my studs again and drilled 3-inch screws through that stretcher and into the wall. And now, yeah, I'm pretty sure you can hang on it now, and nothing's gonna happen. Like, you could put whatever the hell you want on there, and it's never gonna fall apart. So I'm super happy with that. In fact, if you're sitting on the couch, you can't see that stretcher even without books. And if you're not paying attention, it's really hard to see even just empty shelves, because it's the same color as the wall, and there's a tiny shadow line and a couple of holes, and that's all you can really see that would say what is going on there, right? Like it doesn't look out of place. I thought it was going to look out of place. It doesn't. It hides really well, and once she puts books on them again, it'll be completely hidden. But I did not lose sleep last night thinking the shelves were going to fall off the wall. I'm pretty positive these shelves will hold any amount of weight we can put on them now. And once the books are up, they'll look great. Nobody's going to notice. It'll all be hidden. The only people who will know that I screwed this whole thing up from the beginning will be you. All 30 of you who watch this video. So that was fun. I'm glad it's fixed. Em's already using her laptop thing. I'm glad that's done. I now get to kind of do me stuff. I haven't decided what I'm going to work on next. I want to make an outfeed table that has a router in it, or I want to make a router table that I can use as outfeed support. I have a couple other projects that are in various states of doneness that I need to finish. But I had a really long shower thought today about the Viking game. So I think it's going to come back out and get some development done on it very, very soon. So there you go. That's what's going on with me. Tomorrow is my birthday, and the day after is M's birthday. So if you didn't know that, we have back-to-back birthdays, and I have my youngest here right now. So thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends and wonderful people. I really appreciate you, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Today's word you should know to sound smart is lampoon. It is a noun or a verb meaning a mean-spirited satire directed at a person or institution, or the act of submitting someone to a mean-spirited satire. We lampooned the nouveau rich attendees of our April Fool's Day party simply by dressing in the same overwrought couture favored by parvenus. Parvenus? I don't know. Lampoon, Lampepoon. Or, like the best series of vacation movies ever, right?